In part 2 of this video, we are going to focus on the word problem part of the multi-step equations. When you write and solve an equation from a word problem, it's the same as when we were translating from words to numbers and letters, except most of the time that there's a context to it. This one's a little bit easy. There's no context, it's just a straightforward problem. 1/3 of 4 less than a number is 2. So again, taking it apart, we know that 1/3 looks like this. We know of stands for multiplication. And then we have 4 less than a number. 4 less than a number, and that words less than, tells you you need to switch the order. So the 4 would go here. The number we don't know, n, here, and less than is subtract. Is tells us equals, and 2 is 2. Now how do I write this? I mean, I'm not really taking 1/3 of n, I'm taking 1/3 of all of this right here. So I have to be really careful of how I write it. I'm going to do 1/3 of all of this equals 2. Once you get there, you can do the backtracking or the undoing, as we've been saying. So remember, we talked about 1/3. I could think of it as 1/3 and divide by 1/3, or I can think of it as 1 divided by 3 and do times 3 to both sides. Those will cancel out. I'm left with 1 in front. I don't have to write it because there's always a 1 in front. And so I have n minus 4 equals 6. And then I'm going to add 4 to both sides. Negative 4 plus 4 is 0. N equals 10. Don't forget that you can always check your answer. Plug it back in, see if it works. Back into this problem, 1/3, and instead of n, I'm going to put 10 minus 4 and see if it'll give me the 2 that I need. So I want 1/3 of 10 minus 4 is 6. 1/3 of 6 is 2. So check, I am right. In our next example, we actually pulled a question that we already did when we did EE.4C, solving multi-step problems, when we hadn't learned about equations yet. This is the one about Troy. Troy is 3 times as old as Mia's and Dan's ages combined. If Troy is 36 and Mia is 5, how old is Dan? So in this problem, you'd want to take that first sentence and you want to write some sort of equation. So we know Troy, so I'm going to put T, is equals 3 times as old as Mia's and Dan's ages combined. When I talk about something being combined, I usually add them together. So I can't just say 3 times Mia and then add Dan in there. I'm actually doing Mia plus Dan. 3 times the sum of their ages. Now, using that second sentence, I can actually replace some of the variables with numbers. So Troy is 36, so I'm going to replace the T with 36. I'm still going to keep the 3, and I know that Mia is 5, so I'm going to replace the M with 5 plus D. So now I have my equation. Now I can undo the things I see. Think about it. Is it worthwhile to divide the 3 out first? Does 36 divided by 3 give you a nice number? And it does. So I'm going to divide by 3 first. I'm left with 5 plus D equals 36 divided by 3 is 12. And then I have to subtract 5 from both. And that means that Dan, D for Dan, is 7 years old. We already knew the answer from before, but now we can see it in officially how it would work in an equation and how we would actually work the problem out in the end. In our last example, this is a geometry problem, hopefully a review of some concepts that you may be forgot or hopefully remember. But angles PQR, and so I'll put PQR and RQT are complementary. Find the measure of each angle. Well, it's really important that you know what the heck complementary means. Have you thought of it? Do you remember? Do you sort of remember? Take a guess now. It is that the angles add up to 90 degrees. Hence, you can see the little right angle box I made in the corner there. So these two angles together have to equal 90 degrees. Kind of like when we talked about the perimeter problems. This angle plus this angle will give me 90. And then I can go back and figure them out. So let's write it out. I have x plus 5 for the first angle, and then I'm going to add the other one, x minus 9, and together they have to equal 90. Now we can add the opposite. We can combine some like terms. X matches x. Remember, there's 1 in front of each of those, so 1x plus 1x is 2x. Plus, and then 5 matches negative 9. 5 plus negative 9 is negative 4. Still equals 90. Now I can do the undoing part. I would add 4 to both sides. I'm left with 2x equals 94. And then I'm going to divide by 2. X is going to equal 47. 94 divided by 2 is 47. Am I done? Nah, of course you're not done. Now you have to take the x and apply it because it wants to know the measure of each angle. It didn't ask you what x is. It asked you for the measure of each angle. So now I can plug in what I know, x is 47, into each of these. So I can do 47 plus 5, which will give us 52 degrees for that one. And I could do 47 minus 9, which is 38 degrees. And those are my two answers. Angle PQR is 52 degrees, and angle RQT is 38 degrees. An easy way to check is just to add those two together. If they equal 90, you're good to go.